Hey there, folks. Imagine this. You're cruising down a deserted stretch of Interstate 40 in the dead of night, somewhere between Albuquerque and Amarillo, the kind of road where the only company is the hum of your tires and the occasional flicker of headlights from a trucker miles away. The radio's static, your coffee's gone cold, and then something moves in the rear view mirror. Not a deer, not a shadow from the moon. Something that stares back with eyes that shouldn't be there. Chills, right? That's the hook. The kind of story that makes you double-check your locks at night. Before we dive into this tale, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on our channel, because we got a ton more terrifying stories coming your way. All right, let me tell you about what happened to me back in the summer of 2018. My name's Jake Thompson, and I was just a regular guy from Tulsa, Oklahoma, working as a long-haul trucker for a logistics company out of Dallas. You know the drill. Endless miles, cheap motels, and enough caffeine to keep a small army awake. I'd been on the road for about 5 years by then, seen all sorts of weird stuff. Hitchhikers who vanish when you slow down, fog banks that swallow cars whole, even a coyote that looked like it was laughing at me under the full moon. But nothing like this. This one still keeps me up at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if it was real or if my mind was playing tricks. It started innocently enough. I was hauling a load of auto parts from Phoenix to Memphis, taking I-40 eastbound. It was around 2 a.m., and I'd pulled over a rest stop just past the Texas border, near Groom. You know, that little town with a giant cross by the highway? The place was empty, just me and the vending machines glowing like beacons in the dark. I stretched my legs, grabbed a soda, and sat on the hood of my rig, listening to the crickets. The air was thick, humid, with that summer night smell of dust and distant rain. No wind, no traffic noise. Just silence, the kind that presses in on you. As I got back in the cab, I noticed something off. My dashboard clock was blinking 12 o'clock, like the power had cut out. Weird, but trucks glitch sometimes. I reset it and hit the road again. The highway stretched out straight as an arrow, black asphalt under a sky full of stars. No moon that night, so the darkness was absolute. You could barely see the white lines on the road without your high beams. I flipped on the radio for company, scanning through stations, mostly static, then a faint country tune fading in and out. I settled on that, humming along to keep my eyes from drooping. About 20 miles out, the first strange thing happened. Up ahead, in the beam of my lights, I saw a figure standing on the shoulder. Looked like a woman, dressed in white. Maybe a dress or a nightgown. She was facing away from me, hair long and dark, blowing slightly even though there was no breeze. I slowed down a bit, thinking she might need help. Flat tire? Lost? But as I got closer, she didn't turn around, just stood there, motionless. My heart picked up a little. You hear stories about people like this, ghosts or whatever. I honked once, lightly, but no reaction. Then as my truck lumbered past, I glanced in the side mirror, and she was gone, vanished, like she'd never been there. I shook it off. Probably fatigue, I muttered to myself, eyes playing tricks. But the cab felt colder now, even with the AC off. I cranked up the heat and kept driving, eyes glued to the road. The radio started acting up too. The country song cut out, replaced by whispers. At first, I thought it was interference, but it sounded like voices, low and murmuring, too faint to make out words. I switched stations, but it followed. Click, static. Click, more whispers. Finally, I turned it off altogether. Now it was just the engine's rumble and my breathing, which seemed louder than usual. The miles ticked by slowly. I passed a sign for Shamrock, Texas. Population maybe a couple thousand, but at this hour, it might as well have been a ghost town. No lights in the distance, no other vehicles. That's when the shadows started. Out of the corner of my eye, I'd see movement in the ditches beside the road, like shapes darting just beyond the headlights. Not animals, too tall, too humanoid. I'd snap my head around, but nothing, just scrub brush and darkness. My skin prickled, that uneasy feeling like someone's watching you from behind. I checked the mirrors obsessively. Empty road behind, empty ahead. Around 3 a.m., things escalated. I crested a small hill, and there, in the middle of the lane, was a car. An old sedan, maybe a 70s model Ford, parked sideways with its hazards flashing weakly. No one around it. I braked hard, tires screeching, and pulled over. Heart pounding, I grabbed my flashlight and stepped out. The night air hit me like a wall. Colder than it should be in July, with a faint metallic smell, like blood or rust. "Hello?" I called out. "Anyone need help?" Silence. Absolute, deafening silence. No crickets now, no wind. Just my voice echoing back faintly. I approached the car, beams sweeping over it. The doors were shut, windows fogged up from the inside. I wiped the spot on the driver's window and peered in. Empty seats, but the keys were still in the ignition, engine off. On the dash, a map of the Southwest, crumpled, and on the passenger seat, a child's doll, old and ragged, with button eyes staring up blankly. A chill ran down my spine. Who leaves a car like this? I circled around, checking for skid marks or damage. Nothing. It was like they just stopped and walked away, or been taken. I pulled out my phone to call Highway Patrol. No signal. Of course. Dead zone. Swearing under my breath. I headed back to my truck. That's when I heard a soft scraping sound, like nails on metal, coming from under car. I froze. Who's there? No answer. The sound stopped, then started again, closer. My flashlight beam shook as I knelt down, shining it underneath. Nothing but shadows and exhaust pipes. But then, in the far edge of the light, I saw eyes reflective like a cat's, but higher up, watching me. They blinked once, slowly, and vanished. I bolted back to the cab, slamming the door and locking it. Engine roared to life, and I peeled out, leaving the sedan behind. My hands were trembling on the wheel. "Get a grip, Jake," I told myself. It's nothing. Wildlife. Imagination. But the whispers were back, even with the radio. Off. Faint, insistent, like they were coming from inside the truck now. Word I could almost make out. "Help us stop." I pushed the pedal harder, hitting 80 miles per hour. The road blurred, but the darkness seemed to thicken, pressing against the windows. Shadows danced in the mirrors, not reflections, but shapes moving independently. One looked like a hand, pressing against the glass from outside. I swerved slightly, hard in my throat. Up ahead, another figure on the shoulder. Same woman in white? No. This one was a man, tall and thin, suit hanging loose like he'd lost weight suddenly. He turned as I approached, face pale, eyes hollow, mouth moving but no sound. I didn't stop, floored it past him, in the rear view. He started walking after me, unnaturally fast, arms outstretched. But when I blinked, gone again. The next hour was a blur of terror. Every few miles, more signs of abandonment. A bicycle tipped over, chains still spinning slowly. A backpack spilled open, contents scattered. Wallet, photos of a family smiling. Then a shoe, just one, scuffed sneaker in the road. I dodged it, but my mind raced. What the hell was happening on this stretch of highway? Around 4 a.m., as dawn hinted on the horizon, I saw lights. A gas station lit up like Christmas. Relief flooded me. I pulled in, tires crunching gravel. The place was old school, neon sign flickering, open 24/7. I stumbled inside, bell jingling. The clerk, an older guy named Earl, his name tag said so, looked up from his magazine. "Rough night?" he asked, voice gravelly. "You have no idea." I gasped. Out there, people on the road, abandoned cars. Something's wrong. He nodded slowly, not surprised. "Yeah, happens sometimes on this patch. Folks call it the Lost Mile. Stories go back decades. Truckers vanishing, cars found empty. They say it's the ghost of a pile-up from the 50s. Bad wreck, fog and all. Dozens died. Now they linger, looking for rides or maybe company." I stared at him. "You're kidding." "Wish I was." He poured me coffee, hand steady. "Last year, a driver like you stopped here. Same story. Said he picked up a hitchhiker who faded away in the seat. Never made it to his drop-off. Truck found empty, engine running. My blood ran cold. What do? Keep driving. Don't stop till daylight. And don't look back. I chugged the coffee and left, glancing at the highway. In the distance, shapes move in the pre-dawn gloom. Figures walking toward the station, slow and deliberate. I gunned the engine and didn't stop till Amarillo. Sun fully up. That was it. I quit trucking after that. Took a desk job in Tulsa. But sometimes late at night, I hear those whispers again. And I wonder if they're still out there, waiting on that highway for the next lonely soul. You think that's creepy? Wait till you hear the twist I left out earlier. A week later, I looked up that lost mile online. Found articles about the 1957 crash. Real event, 47 dead. But one detail chilled me to the bone. Among the victims was a trucker named Jake Thompson. My name. Died hauling auto parts. They never found his body. Am I ghost telling this? Or did I escape something worse? Drive safe out there. You never know who's riding with you. Word count. 1,248. Wait, hold on. That came up short. Let me expand this properly to hit around 2,000 words, as requested, fleshing out the details for more tension. Let me start over with the full version, building it out. Hey there, folks. Imagine this. You're cruising down a deserted stretch of Interstate 40 in the dead of night, somewhere between Albuquerque and Amarillo, the kind of road where the only company is the hum of your tires and the occasional flicker of headlights from a trucker miles away. The radio's static, your coffee's gone cold, and then something moves in the rear-view mirror. Not a deer, not a shadow from the moon. Something that stares back with eyes that shouldn't be there. Chills, right? That's the hook. The kind of story that makes you double-check your locks at night. Before we dive into this tale, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on our channel, because we got a ton more terrifying stories coming your way. Okay, pull up a chair, because this one's from my own life, and it's the reason I don't drive at night anymore. My name's Jake Thompson, born and raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Back in 2018, I was 32, single, and making my living as a long-haul trucker for a company based out of Dallas, Texas. The job was straightforward. Pick up loads, deliver them across the Southwest, repeat. I'd log thousands of miles a month, seeing everything from the Grand Canyon to the Mississippi River. But the nights were the worst. Long, lonely stretches where your mind wanders and the darkness plays tricks. It was July 15th, a Friday, when it all went down. I'd loaded up in Phoenix with auto parts bound for Memphis. The plan was to drive through the night, stop in Oklahoma City for breakfast. I left Phoenix at dusk, the sun dipping behind the mountains like a fiery goodbye. By midnight, I was in New Mexico, crossing into Texas around 1 a.m. The highway was empty, just me and the stars. I-40's a straight shot there, flat land with occasional hills, dotted with billboards for truck stops and casinos. I stopped at a rest area near Groom, Texas. You know, the one with that massive 190-foot cross looming over the interstate. It's a landmark, but at night, it's eerie, like a giant sentinel watching the road. The lot was deserted. No other rigs or cars. I parked, killed the engine, and stepped out. To stretch. The air was warm, but with a chill edge, like the desert cooling fast. Crickets chirped, and far off, a coyote howled. Normal sounds, but they felt amplified in the quiet. I grabbed a Coke from the vending machine, the fluorescent light buzzing overhead. As I leaned against my truck, sipping, I felt watched. You know that prickle on the back of your neck? I scanned the darkness, but saw nothing, just the cross silhouetted against the sky. Shrugging it off, I climbed back in, reset my trip odometer, and rolled out. The clock read 1:45 a.m. The first oddity was the radio. I had it on a classic rock station, but it started fading, replaced by static. Then, through the noise, voices, not singing, but talking, low, indistinct, like a conversation in another room. I twisted the dial, but it persisted on every frequency. Finally, I shut it off. Silence descended, broken only by the engine's steady drone. About 10 miles later, the woman appeared. She was standing on the right shoulder, illuminated by my high beams. White dress, long black hair, back turned to road. She looked out of place. No car nearby, no bag, just standing there. I slowed to 40 miles per hour, debating if I should stop. Good Samaritan instinct kicked in, but something felt wrong. As I drew level, she didn't move. In the side mirror, I watched for her turn, but she vanished. 1 second there, next gone. No ditch to drop into, no bushes to hide behind. Just poof. My pulse quickened. What the hell? I whispered. The cab seemed smaller, the darkness outside thicker. I accelerated, eyes darting to mirrors. Nothing, but the cold crept in. I could see my breath fogging slightly, even though the temp gauge read 75 degrees. I blasted the heat, but it did little. The whispers returned, this time without the radio. From the vents, the floor, stop, help. Faint like wind through cracks. I told myself it was exhaust or something mechanical. But deep down, fear stirred, that primal gut twist when you know you're not alone. I pushed on, passing a sign from McLean, Texas, an old Route 66 town, mostly abandoned now. The road curved slightly, and that's when I saw the car. An old Buick, 80s model, pulled half off the pavement, headlights dim, hood up, no one visible. I hesitated, then pulled over 50 yards ahead, flashing my hazards. Stay in the truck, I thought, but curiosity won. Flashlight in hand, I approached. The engine was cold, keys gone. Inside, the seats were empty, but personal items scattered. A woman's purse, lipstick rolled out, a man's wallet with ID for Robert Hayes from Amarillo. Kids' toys in the back. Family car. The air around it smelled wrong, sweet like decay mixed with ozone. I called out, "Anyone here?" Echo in the night. Then from the trunk, a thump, soft like something shifting. I backed away fast, heart hammering. Another thump. Screw this. I muttered, jogging back to my rig. As I climbed in, I glanced back. The hood was down now, like someone closed it. Impossible. I sped off, tires spinning. The next 30 miles were hell. Shadows flitted at the edge of my vision. Tall figures loping alongside the truck, keeping pace at 70 miles per hour. I'd blink and they'd be gone. The mirrors showed movement behind. A handprint on the rear window, fading slowly. Whispers grew louder, words clearer. "Join us, it's cold. Stop the car." Panic set in. I called my dispatcher on the CB radio. Static. Cell phone, no bars. Isolated. Then, ahead, more vehicles. A minivan flipped in the median. Doors open. A motorcycle leaned against a guardrail, helmet dangling. No bodies, but fresh tire marks. Like a chain reaction accident, but silent, no sirens. At 3:30 a.m., I saw the group. For figures on the road, standing in a line, arms linked. 2 adults, 2 kids. They didn't move as I approached. I honked, swerved to the shoulder. As I passed, their heads turned in unison. Faces blank, eyes reflecting light like animals. In the mirror, they started following, walking fast, then running. I floored it to 90, sweat pouring. The truck shook, but I didn't care. Dawn was hours away. The whispers became pleas. Names Robert, Emily, help U.S. home. Finally, lights. A Texaco station near Shamrock. I screeched in, nearly clipping a pump. Inside, the clerk, a grizzled vet named Bud, eyed me. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "I think I have." I panted, explaining. He sighed. "The highway haunts. Old-timers know. Back in 57, massive wreck here. Fog, semi-jackknife it, pile up, kill 50. Families, truckers. They say the dead wander, pulling folks in to join them. See it myself once. Figure my mirror, gone when I turned. Real?" I asked. "As real as that coffee. Drive till sunup. Don't stop." I did, arriving in Amarillo shaking. Quit trucking soon after. But the twist? Researching later, I found the 57 crash list. Among the missing, Jake Thompson, trucker from Tulsa, hauling auto parts. Photo looked just like me. Am I him? Or did I escape a loop? Drive careful. The road remembers. Hey there, horror fans. Imagine you're deep into the night on US Route 66. Yeah, the old Mother Road. Somewhere in Arizona, just west of Flagstaff. The modern interstate is miles away, and you've taken this detour for the nostalgia, chasing those faded get-your-kicks signs under skies so clear feels endless. But the pavement's cracked, the motels are boarded up, and at 2 a.m., there's not another soul for 50 miles. Then you spot it, a single red taillight in the distance, blinking slow like a heartbeat. You get closer, and realize the car it's attached to hasn't moved in decades. Before I go any further with this one, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We got plenty more true American highway nightmares headed your way. This story comes from a woman I know named Sarah Ellis. Sarah's from Flagstaff, works as a park ranger at Walnut Canyon National Monument during the day, but back in the fall of 2020, she was driving home late after a weekend camping trip in the California desert. She decided to take the old Route 66 stretch between Seligman and Ash Fork, about 70 miles of pure Americana, Tulane blacktop, winding through pine forests and empty plains. Most people stick to I-40, but Sarah loves the history. The old diners, the Burma shave signs, the feeling of driving through time. It was October, chilly at elevation, and she'd left Kimmon around 10 p.m., figuring she'd be home by midnight. The road was hers alone. No trucks, no tourists, just her Jeep Wrangler and a playlist of old Johnny Cash to keep her company. She passed through Seligman, waved at the closed snow-capped drive-in, and kept rolling east. The pines closed in, the headlights carving tunnels through the dark. Around 1 a.m., somewhere near the abandoned town of Crookton, the radio started cutting out. Not unusual, spotty signal up there, but then it landed on a station playing music she'd never heard. Big band swing from the 1940s, crackly like it was coming off an original vinyl. She left it on for the vibe, smiling at how perfect it felt on the old highway. That's when the fog rolled in. Not normal Arizona fog. Thick, low, glowing faintly in her headlights like it was lit from within. It swallowed the road edges, turning the world into a narrow white corridor. Sarah slowed to 40 miles per hour, high beams on, wipers flicking away the mist that beaded on the windshield. The temperature dropped fast. Frost started forming on the glass, even though the heater was blasting. She crested a small rise, and there it was, an old car on the shoulder, a 1940s Plymouth, mint condition, chrome gleaming. Hazards blinking slow, left, right, like a dying pulse. No one visible. Sarah's a ranger. She stopped for stranded motorists. She pulled over 50 yards ahead, grabbed her flashlight and maglite, and stepped out. The air was dead still. No crickets, no wind in the pines. Just a soft tick-tick of her cooling engine and the distant big band music still playing from her radio. She approached the Plymouth carefully, boots crunching on gravel that sounded too loud. Hello? Need help? Nothing. The windows were fogged. She wiped the driver's side with her sleeve and peered in. Empty, but the seats sat in, indented, like someone had just stood up, keys in the ignition. On the dash, an old road Atlas Open Arizona and a woman's glove, white lace, folded neatly. The smell hit her then. Faint perfume, like lily of the valley, mixed with something metallic. Sarah circled the car. No tracks leading away. No footprints in the dust. Just her own boot prints behind her. She clicked on her radio to call it in. No signal. Of course. That's when she heard the laughter. Soft, childlike, coming from the tree line, maybe 20 yards off the road. She swung the flashlight. Nothing but pines and fog. Then again, closer, behind her now. Giggling, two voices, a boy and a girl. Come play, one whispered, clear as day. Sarah's heart slammed against her ribs. She backed toward her Jeep, beams sweeping the darkness. Shapes moved between the trees, small figures, darting just out of sight. She reached her door, yanked it open, and jumped in, locking it fast. The big band music on her radio had changed. Now it was a slow waltz, and over it, faint voices, adults talking, laughing, like a party in the distance. She killed the stereo. Silence rushed in. In the rear view mirror, she saw them, 3 figures standing where the Plymouth had been. A man in a fedora and suit, a woman in a long dress, and between them, 2 children holding hands, all facing her Jeep, not moving, just watching. Sarah threw the Jeep in drive and punched it, tires spinning before catching. She didn't look back until she hit the outskirts of Williams 20 minutes later, hands shaking so bad she could barely hold the wheel. She pulled into First Open gas station, a 24-hour Maverick, and sat there till sunrise, doors locked, watching every shadow. When the attendant came on shift at 6 a.m., she told him what happened. He didn't laugh. 2 gun stretch, he asked. No, she said, Crookton area. He nodded slow. Different spot, same story. Folks been seeing that family since the 50s. Car wrecked back in 47 or 48. Family of 4 from Chicago, heading to California for a new start. Hit black ice, went off the road into a ravine. Searchers found the car, but not the bodies. Ever since, people see him on foggy nights. The car, the family, waiting for someone to give him a ride the rest of the way. Sarah drove home in full daylight, took the interstate. She looked up old newspapers later, found the article, Crash on Route 66, October 1947. Family of 4, father, mother, son age 8, daughter age 6. Car located, bodies never recovered. But here's the part that still keeps her up. When she got home and unpacked her Jeep, she found something on the passenger seat that hadn't been there before. A single white lace glove, identical to the one in the Plymouth. She burned it in her fireplace that night. Said the smoke smelled like lilies. Sarah doesn't take the old road anymore. And every October, when the fog rolls in thick around Flagstaff, she keeps her curtains drawn and her doors locked. Because sometimes late at night, she hears it, soft giggling outside her window. Children's voices. Found you, they whisper. Now come play. Stay off the old roads at night, folks. Some families never made it to where they were going, and they're still looking for a ride. Sleep tight, or don't. Your call.